second season wonders Firefly, episode 2. I am Jay. I am joined, of course, by Steve. Steve, how the hell are you?
Steve's pretty good. Steve threw himself out of whack trying to stay up to edit last night. And it was just like 45 minutes of editing, 30 minutes of sleeping in chair, 45 minutes of editing. It's not conducive. But yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Other than that, pretty normal. How are things in the J-Verse?
Things are good. We're experimenting with our audio composition a little bit, so we'll see how that turns out in the final version. There are a lot of apartment noises behind me, so we'll have an exciting opportunity to see if those get picked up in the final version. I have my mic set to cardiac, which I believe means that it's just supposed to pick up the stuff right in front of the microphone. However, not working like that, so we'll see.
Well, it's because of the shape, it's like a cone.
Oh, it's pointing? So what if I rotated it away from the apartment noises? How about that?
Yeah, so theoretically, that would be better. Also, because you're in, because it's like an apartment, it's just all the sound's going to bounce off the walls anyway. So it's not going to make a huge difference.
We've got to wait for Isabel to graduate from law school so we can renovate the apartment and add a podcast studio to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not there yet.
Yeah, you could just get like a little pop-up foam thing. I'm sure that won't be horrifically distracting at all. It's a little...
Oh, like a little booth around me?
Yeah, and maybe what you do is you get some pretty rigid cardboard or maybe even plywood, and then you hot glue jujitsu mats to it. So then you can stand it up and it's like your little recording booth. But when you're done, now you've got some jujitsu mats,
These are good. This is free ideas. This could be a product, I feel like, because the
it's true. There's a lot of
podcast bros to jujitsu doers is pretty high. We are neither. We have a podcast and we do jujitsu, but we are neither podcast bros nor jujitsu bros. We're just people that have a podcast and people that do jujitsu.
Yeah.
And the fact that we do both is our eternal shame.
Yeah. If we were 20% better at either or both of those things, I think we might be able to fit the bill.
Yeah. Well, when I think podcast bro, I think person that sucks. I don't think person with a good podcast,
Oh, fair.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Things in the J-verse are good. We're a week away from winter break, which is very exciting.
Oh, nice.
This coming week is finals week, which is so great because, I'm at my last school. It was hard to get the kids invested with their grades or with their academic performance, but it's very exciting because now I'm telling my freshmen, I'm like, when the semester ends, those are your grades forever. They will never change. When they talk about your permanent record, this is what they're talking about. When you apply to colleges, they're going to see your semester 1 freshman year grades. And it was so satisfying. Obviously it doesn't work on all of them, but just for some of them to be like, oh my God, he's serious. This is actually what I've been screwing around for the past, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And now that's going to be on my college application. So I'm trying to de-stress it for those of them that haven't been doing well. I've been you can still pull it back. If you don't do well first semester freshman year, it's not the end of the world. But obviously, better to string together more good semesters than bad semesters. So let's do good on our finals, people.
The amount of nightmares I still have that are oh shit, have I been going to history class at all this semester? How much have I missed? I don't think I've done any of these papers. I have that dream so many times. Then I'm trying to find the class and I'm I can't even remember where it is. Oh my God. Have I just completely, how fucked am I?
None of my kids have dreams like that because they just don't care about school like that. It's just not.
I didn't have those dreams when I was in school. That's the weird part.
Right.
That's weird. I just lived to that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's my update. And let's talk about Firefly. Episode 2, The Train Job.
The Train Job, which is not something you have to open up an incognito window to look up, so don't worry about that. So this episode is somewhat notorious for being the actual first episode that aired. This is... and I guess they had enough time to notify the crew. because obviously you film the pilot quite a ways before it gets picked up. Which is why this feels like a little bit of almost like a soft. They do a good job of recapping everything from the first episode in this one. It's like, this is Simon, this is River, this is their gimmick, this is Jane, he's an asshole, this is Wash and Zoe, they're married, this is Mal, he's grumpy about the war, you know. I think it's kind of funny watching this sort of like reintroduction.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked good episode overall. Oh, is Hanukkah starting soon? The beginning of Hanukkah. When's the beginning of Hanukkah? Is that like right now? Notification begins tomorrow. Very exciting. Happy early Hanukkah, everybody. Happy late Hanukkah when you hear this.
True.
Okay, here's just something I pulled out from the kind of opening intro package. So we're in a new solar system.
Yes.
With terraform planets. So they mentioned the terraform planets last episode, but now they're officially saying like this is not like humanity has traveled to a new solar system in the galaxy, and they have terraformed the planets and moons there to be Earth-like. The central planets make up the Alliance. The Alliance tried to kind of bring everyone into the fold. You know, we're drawing a little inspiration from Star Wars here, and but making the Republic a little more repressive. So we're kind of jumping straight to Empire.
Yeah.
There was a civil war, which Mal was on the losing side of, and now the Alliance has a loose control over the solar system.
Yeah. That's because it's they took the Confederation of independent planets, or what? Independent systems, right? That's what it is. Oh my god, I can't believe I reached into the recesses to pull that one out. But that was back when that was the first time in human history when you could say cis with like a hatred in your heart. That was the first time.
I think, yeah, that's I don't hate the Confederacy of Independent Systems. They're just misguided, you know.
It's true. It's true.
Because they're not wrong.
Except for those weird cat people. Those guys, those people are weird.
Which one?
The weird cat people from that one episode of Clone Wars that were like slavers.
Well, it's tough because there's like at the core of the Confederacy of Independent Systems are legitimate grievances, but they've been co-opted by like a bunch of groups that just want to be free, that just want to be outside of like Republic like regulation, like the Zygerian slavers and like the corporate alliance and stuff like that. But like, so obviously those people suck, but like there are like the claims of corruption in the Senate are true. It's just, it's sad. Yeah. It's a tragedy on all sides.
A tragedy. Yeah. Do you know what like the leader of the, we're getting so off track. The leader of the I forget what they were called, but in the sequel of the Legacy of the Force books, when they basically did the Galactic Civil War again, or they basically did the prequels again. Do you know what the planet was that was like leading the rebellion, or the
was it Raxus Prime again, or was
it it was Corellia?
Interesting. Was it was Garmbel Iblis part of the rebellion?
I don't remember if that was a named character. I don't think so. But like there was a huge thing where it was like Han was like a little conflicted about like, you know, what side is he on, and his son is like this like jackbooted Republic guy, and it's there's a lot of fun stuff in that book, those books. I think, I don't know. I read them in middle school. They might all be terrible. Who knows? I
might have to check them out. I'm gonna make spoiler alert. I am gonna make my non-wrestling rec Star Wars related because
good.
I've been reading some books lately. Okay, but speaking of, we get that intro on. We spent exactly. We've been recording for 10 minutes. We spent about 30 seconds talking about Firefly episode 2, which I really enjoyed, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in a bar. There's Mal gets passed a note by a dancing woman.
Yeah.
We don't get to kind of get any details on that, but there's a, not nice dude, an intoxicated man at the bar who is praising the Alliance. It's Unification Day. Mal starts something with him. He gets thrown through the hollow window, which I thought was very fun. Instead of getting thrown through the window, he gets thrown through the window, and there's like a, hologram glitching effect because it's not an actual glass window. And I thought that was, it's just one of those fun world building touches that you love to see.
Yeah.
They get in a scrap, but they're able to escape on the ship. And I'm just going to go through the recap. If you have anything you want to add, just jump in.
I know, go for it. Yeah.
River is having flashbacks of the experiments that she underwent on the ship. Shepard Book asks Mal why he's letting Simon and River stay aboard, and he's kind of like, "Oh, they can pay." And Book's like, "Well, that seems like not a real answer
Yeah.
because I don't think they can." But also, they draw so much attention from the Alliance, and Mal's like, "Shut up," and he
I like to see because it's
slams
like
the door.
it's like what answer is Book looking for? Like, like, like I
Well, I think maybe he hopes that Mal's going to be honest with him.
yeah,
And,
he's
like,
just
reveal
poking at
his
him,
heart of
and
gold.
Mal's like,
Yeah.
like he expects Mal to just turn around and goes like, "Because I'm just such a fucking great guy." All right, which he actually that is something he might say, but he would do it in like a whimsical, sarcastic way.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just such a good and honest person, Shepard, or whatever, and he would say. But yeah, Book's in this episode. And then where we go from there. So
Then Mal heads into Inara's shuttle.
right.
Partially because he's looking for Kaylee, but also because he's looking for Inara, and they happen to both be in there. They're having a little bit of a bonding moment because Inara is doing Kaylee's hair.
Yeah.
But Mal's like, cut that out. Kaylee, go work on the engine. And he reveals to Inara, like, hey, that paper I got from that dancing lady had a job for us to do. And we have to go meet with this guy, Nishka, who has a really nasty reputation. And something bad could happen if you come with us. So just please stay on the ship once we get to Nishka's headquarters. And there's some, I don't know if there's like, is there sexual tension between the two of them? Or is it just like relationship tension? I don't even know.
There's a little bit of column A, column B. I think like Inara's like way about the way she talks about Mal when he's not in the room is like, okay, this is weird, like,
Yeah.
But I like the scene. I like the like sort of like, oh, why don't you let Kaylee be a child? And it's like she's 25. She's a mechanic. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of this
employed.
is, yeah, I've realized now that a lot of this is just going to be me like slightly making fun of the show because it's not very interesting to be like, this was good, and then move on.
Well, look, I mean, we had to start out with a good one, right? Because we're calling this one season wonders, so we had to start with a one season that was actually a wonder. We can do Inhumans after this or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you could do Inhumans. I realized that
Inhumans.
Yeah, I realize that Beast Machines also falls under this category, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I think it's going on the list is what's happening. Because it's been a long time since I've seen Beast Wars.
That's true. I'm very excited for you to be like, did I miss something? And then for me to be like, no, actually, this is how it works.
How did Beast Wars go? Season 1 was like kind of mid. Season 2 was the good one, and then season 3 was kind of mid as well. Is that how it went?
Yeah, it's a very sharp rise. I don't know.
Because I remember during season 2, I was like actively clicking on the next episode as opposed to being like, all right, crack snack, here we go again,
Yeah.
It's just something about that super shiny CGI that like just hurts my brain. Either way, I enjoyed Beast Wars. Someday we'll do a full Beast Wars. Actually, probably.
We kind of did.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Did we? We did bonus episodes on it. I forgot. Yeah.
I don't think we did bonus episodes. I think we just took like a half hour at the end of multiple Return of the Temple episodes
to just talk about Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Beast Wars. Someday we'll get
the yeah.
Great theme song. Are we going to put Beast Wars on the YouTube, or are we going to put the YouTube? Or sorry, are we going to put Return to the Temple on the YouTube, or are we going to put the YouTube on Return to the Temple?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
This episode, oh my God, I'm so sorry, folks. I promise that was the last tangent until we finish the recap. So they go meet with Nishka. He's like an old Russian businessman. He's giving real. What was the name of the moneylender in Red Dead Redemption 2? He's got that vibe. Strauss. He's got big Strauss vibes, even though he is Russian and not German. They're kind of going with the same thing. I really like Isabel's anti-space western. She's like, I do not think the combination of these two themes works, and I'm like, you are incorrect. This is so cool.
It's the final frontier. That's what
I was telling her. I was like, it's the frontier. Like, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Nishka threatens them. He's like, you do this job for me. He's basically like, I've heard good things about you. That's your reputation, but a reputation is only gossip. If you don't do this job for me, I'll kill you. But if you do this job for me, then your reputation will be more than gossip. And they're like, it's a little labored, but it works.
Yeah.
And he's got a big scary henchman named Crow.
Yeah.
And Crow has the Samoa Joe face tattoo from Impact.
Yeah. You know, hey, in space, nobody can hear you appropriate culture. You know,
Exactly. So the job in question is to retrieve two Alliance boxes from a train that is headed to the town of Paradiso. And they're like, all right, cool. So Mal and Zoe are on the train. They head towards the cargo, but stumble. Oh, I should say, Nishka is basically like, do you want to know what the cargo is? And they're like, nope. And he's like, good. Correct answer.
Yeah. They're like, we've seen Transporter. We know how this goes. He's like, sweet.
Yeah. They head towards the cargo, but stumble onto a car full of Alliance soldiers. Ad break.
Yeah. It's so nice to not have ad breaks, right? Like,
yeah.
Can you imagine watching this at the time and just being like, oh, no.
But like, it's like a classic, like,
yeah,
ad break cliffhanger where they come back and then it's like, oh, no, it was actually fine. Like,
yeah.
They just have someone else like, yeah, the soldiers do not care that they're going through the train.
Yeah.
So they go through the Alliance soldier car. On the ship, Book and Inara are talking. Book is kind of like, oh man, I want to help somehow. And Inara's like, why don't you pray? And Book is like, well, I don't think the captain would like that. And Inara's like, well, I do it anyway, so whatever. And we kind of have this arc where like, it's funny because, I don't know, Book does not seem to have any real prejudice towards Inara, but I feel like they're treating like Inara's virtue as like subversive for Book, but he doesn't seem to be reacting to it that way. Like, were we supposed to come out of the scene being like, oh, Inara is a companion, but she's a woman of faith, you know, like that's surprising.
Yeah, it seems like every scene we're supposed to be like, wow, that Inara, you know, like I think I disliked the character on this rewatch. I think I'm just like, we get it. You're wise. Like, I think if there was more back and forth, like we've had 2 episodes now where like Book is like, I don't know, where she's giving Book guidance, which is like, I get that inversion, but like at a certain point, he's just kind of a shitty shepherd, you know, like.
Well, he's still. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for right now, because now he's with them on their first pirate job. You know,
that's true.
So he's feeling a little.
And also, this is and also this is again like a soft remake of the pilot too, right? So we got to reestablish this relationship. So I'm being a little harsh. Yeah,
but I think that's your prerogative. If he doesn't have it together in 2 episodes, then I'll be a little annoyed.
Yeah.
Mal and Zoe make it through without incident, but Zoe is kind of suspicious that they've been misled. She's like, we didn't know anything about there being Alliance soldiers on the ship. Turns out, by the way, they have not. It's fine, actually.
Yeah, like they're just
the Alliance
traveling.
soldiers on the train. Which like my assumption was, you know, obviously there's going to be some wrinkle, right? And so, but then in the narrative of the episode, the fact that there are Alliance soldiers on the train and the fact that there is Alliance cargo on the train are just, you know, it's just completely unrelated. Like, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
So I found that kind of funny. And because like Nishka doesn't really deceive them at all. You know, like he's kind of like they make him seem like obviously he's doing something unethical, but he's not put them in a precarious situation intentionally, you know?
Yeah. And it's like the reason why you ask not to know what or why you don't ask what the cargo is because it's probably going to be something you don't like. Like,
right.
Like, I don't think, the fact that they're like surprised is kind of funny. Or like, kind of like, this job's got a bad stench to it. It's like, it is crime, you know?
Right. But there's no betrayal from Nishka. Like, he is like, I am hiring you to do crime, and crime is bad. And they're like, okay. And then they're like, anyway, I just thought there was going to be more of like they thought they could. I thought it was going to. I'm glad it wasn't a patient situation where they get betrayed by their employer.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, they end up doing the betraying. But
Yeah.
I would have I thought that's the direction we were headed, and I was happy that we did not end up there.
Yeah.
Simon finds Kaylee in the cargo hold where she is kind of rigging up a contraption.
Yeah.
And this was like a Whedonism, but I thought it was still kind of fun, like just the way that the dialogue was delivered. He's like, "What are we
Yeah.
doing?" And Kaylee's like, "Crime." And he's like, "Oh, crime. Okay, good."
Yeah.
And it's like one of those like, haha, like or like a little what's the
Yeah.
term?
Banter.
Yeah, a little banter with a little there's an adjective that escapes me at the moment.
Yeah. But,
So the plan is they're going to lower Jane onto the train car. Mal and Zoe are going to kind of open the train car up from inside, and then they're going to collect everybody and bring them up into the
yeah.
ship, and then they will make a clean getaway to the rendezvous. Of
Yeah.
course, it is a television show, so it does not happen that way.
Yeah.
Jane
I
gets
do
lowered
want to
down.
Yeah, I do
Go
want to
for it.
mention this the scene between Kaylee and Simon where Jade interrupts, because like similarly to how like every time Inara's on screen, like it's starting to get a little eye rolly. Every time Jane's on screen, I'm just like, man, they really hit this out of the park, because it's, you can tell every single thing that he's thinking, but he never says what he's thinking.
Right.
Like he's a little jealous of Simon, that Kaylee likes Simon, obviously, but he never like has a lingering gaze on Kaylee or like goes out of his way. Like he just is a dick. It's so good.
Is that what it is, or is he like? Because the way that I've been interpreting it is not that he's jealous, but more that he kind of sees Simon as like an outsider to like their little family that they have going on, and
Yeah.
he's not cool with that.
I think it's a bit of one informs the other.
Okay.
The fact that he's like not like us and that she kind of likes that, I think, is the
sticking point.
Yeah, Simon is everything he's not, and he resents him for that. And then
Right.
But and like I said, and it's not like this is not to spoil later episodes, but it's not like this is a thing that they like go in depth with. Like I think, which is
Right.
why I like it, where it's like yeah, nobody confronts him about it. Nobody's like,
It's just like a little bit of a thing.
yeah. And also I like that like he there's this bit where he talks about like the only reason he could imagine why Mal would keep them on is he's like, well, when it's convenient, he's just going to turn them in for the reward. Like, it's money in the back pocket. And Kaylee's like kind of horrified by his cynicism. And then as he's like gearing up to go, he just goes, okay, now it's time for some thrilling heroics. It's like his idea of like what being heroic is so like out of left field. He's just like, yeah, it's just doing dangerous things, right? Like it's just, he's like BMX riders. They are the most.
He was
brave.
Interesting in this episode, but we'll talk about that also as he kind of gets his little moment to shine later on.
Yeah.
So he gets lowered down, and Zoe and Mel successfully open up the train car. They get the cargo rigged up, but just by happenstance, one of the Alliance soldiers goes to take a pee and stumbles upon their scheme. He fires on the crew. Zoe and Mal are kind of knocked away from the cables, I guess, that they're going to use to bring the cargo back up to the ship. I swear Jane is shot in the arm, but when he gets back up to the ship, it's his leg.
Yeah, it's right in the calf. Yeah.
So I was like, because the angle they showed, I thought it was kind of like in like the bicep area.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, all right, whatever. He gets lifted back to Serenity with the cargo. So we have the cargo, but Zoe and Mal are stuck on the train. They kind of throw like a smoke grenade, which allows them to disappear back in with the passengers. And the train is stopped in Paradiso, and kind of everyone's escorted off.
Yeah.
After the train is emptied, they learn that what they stole was actually medicine for the people of Paradiso, because everyone has this like degenerative lung disease as a part of the mining.
The mining mixed with the terraforming and.
Yeah. So they're like, oh man.
Yeah.
We're conflicted morally.
Yeah. It's gotta fucking suck living like the Firefly universe, because everybody's like jokey and everything. It's like, but this is like, it's pretty dystopian. Like it sucks.
Right.
like the fact that there's flying cars and also horse and buggies, like, is so like It's like, oh, you got the shit end of the stick, John. You were born out here. Sucks to
Right.
suck. Which I guess is
You're not in
true
the
of
cool core planets.
anywhere, but you know.
Right. Yeah. So, on the ship, River is being weird, and Jane doesn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's
Anything on
freaking
that?
out. She says she starts going into like because Jane is freaking out about like have it. He's like, well, we have essentially everybody wants to kind of like go back for Mal and Zoe, and he's like, hey, uh, I don't want to get like flayed alive, so we're gonna like deliver this stuff, which honestly, kind of reasonable. And then he talks about the somebody says something about the Alliance being involved too, and this kind of sets River off, and she starts repeating this like pseudo nursery rhyme, 2 by 2 hands of blue, which is another thing that I was like, that'll get paid off later, and it gets paid off in this episode. I was like, oh, never mind.
Does it get paid off in this episode?
Well, not paid off, but sort of like you figure it out, like you find out like what she's talking about.
Okay. Is it like the guys at the end?
Yeah, like the guys at the end are like the 2 by 2 hands of blue that she's freaking
Or
out
did they have
about.
gloves on?
Yeah, they had like near gloves.
I did not notice that. Did not
Oh,
notice that. We'll get to that later.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah. Anyway, but so Book chimes in and he's like, "I know this Nishka guy by reputation." To which Jane is the first one to be like, "What? What do you mean you like? How do you know that name?" It's so good. But Book's like, if he made a deal with the captain and he thinks that he might like rat, that's probably a problem. We should probably just like try to let him wait. Um,
we should probably deliver exactly what we promised, which is Mal
yeah,
with the goods, as
yeah,
opposed to like, here is us with the goods, while the person you made the deal with is elsewhere.
yeah,
Uh, and Jane agrees for the moment.
yeah,
So Mal and Zoe talk with the sheriff, find out that the whole town is afflicted with this degenerative disease. Jane is kind of lost his patience. He's like, okay, they're not coming. He tries to get out of there, and he's starting to get. He's basically about to take control of the situation by force when all of a sudden he becomes incoherent and then passes out. And
yeah,
it is revealed that Simon, earlier when they were in the med lab, when he was giving him a pain drug, kind of souped it up to knock him out, and he was like, I just was not comfortable with him in charge. And
yeah,
everyone was like, that's fair.
yeah. I do want to say, do you know what the chain of command is? It's a chain I go and beat you with until you do what I say. Is a line that I have said on multiple times, even though it almost never applies.
That's something I need to pull out in the classroom. That's
Yeah,
that's gonna pay dividends for me.
yeah,
My line, this is a line that I've been pulling out recently. Shout out Paulo Costa, has been, that sounds like your own personal problem. I had someone who we have this system, like when you do something wrong, like you
yeah,
get what's called, you get a log, which means that I go and put it in the system at the end of the day that you did something wrong.
yeah.
And if you accumulate 5 logs over the course of a week, you get detention. And there's this,
So all you gotta do is
I
not be a shit all 5 days of the week.
correct, or only you can be a shit 4 times during the week,
Yeah,
which
you could save
that
all. You
sounds
could
pretty
save all
fair,
4 shittiness for Friday. You know, you could.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which they often do, so that's good. But I have this one student who, I have a tough. My fourth period's tough. A lot of them. There's some frequent misbehaviors. They're all great kids, but just when they're all in the same room together, it's not good.
Yeah.
That's something that I feel like I can honestly. I feel like I could have not said this last year, but I feel like all my kids are pretty great,
Yeah.
with the exception of like only 1 or 2. Where like last year, I felt like there was only 1 or 2 great kids.
Yeah.
But I had this girl who like got a log in my class this past week, and she was like, because she was talking, and the reason why I gave her a log is I had said, all right, folks, we're going to spend this next 5 minutes working on these questions at a level 0, so no talking, go. And I feel like it's a pretty clear expectation,
Yeah.
right? And I do my best. I remember being in high school, I would not like to be quiet for 70 minutes, so I do my best to make sure that there are periods in the class where they can talk with their friends. Obviously, I would like them to be talking about the work, but if there's like a side tangent here or there, it's not the end of the world. So
Yeah.
I'm not like an inhumane teacher. Um, I try to make sure there's more time that we spend able to talk with the people around us than time where we have to be quiet.
Yeah.
Yet some people really struggle with this. So she was talking, and I was like, "That's a log," and she was like, "Ugh, another log." And I remember I was just I was really done with it that day, and I was just like, "You made this happen." I was like, "This sounds like your own personal problem," and she was like, "Yeah," but it was good. It was a good time. I felt like I really owned her epic style. And then this other kid went like, "Ooh, burn," and I was like, "That's a log for you too." I said no talking. Like, what the hell are you talking? Anyway, so that's the origin of that. Jane says the thing about the chain of commands, which is fun. What they decide to do is send in Inara, and she comes in and she has like a clever lie about Mal and Zoe basically running away together when they're supposed to be her indentured servants. And her legitimacy as a companion serves them well because they run her files and she comes up clean.
Yeah.
However, they get back to the ship. They explain the situation. They're like, "We got to return this. This is the medicine for the people. We got to give it back. We can't complete the job." At that moment, Crow and his goons kind of come aboard the ship, and they're like, what was that?" And they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna do the deal. We changed our minds." And he's like, "You can't do that." And so they have a shootout. They defeat Crow and his goons, and they return the medicine. They're trying to do it like stealthily, but the sheriff catches them.
Yeah.
But he's like, "I get it. Like, you took the job to steal some crates. You didn't know what was in them. As soon as you found out, you gave them back. We're all good."
Yeah. I did want to mention the scene when they're first talking to the sheriff. I like the sheriff, by the way. He's like one of those character actors that's like you've probably seen him in like 5 TV shows, but you can't place him. But I like the scene. Clearly, they've been given this sort of story about like being newlyweds looking for work from this one particular guy. I can't remember the guy's name.
Joey Blogs.
Joey Blogs. And as they're talking, they find out that because the sheriff first mentions, he's like, "If I find out whoever stole this medicine, I'm gonna just lock them in the mine and let them die from the asphyxiation or the chemicals." And then as the scene keeps going, and he's like getting more suspicious about their thing, he talks about Joey Blogs. He goes, "Funny thing about Joey Blogs, he ate his gun about 8 months ago." He goes, "It's like, yeah, blew the back of his head clean off." And I'm like, I think the sheriff killed Joey Blogs. I think like that was a revelation that I did not have the previous times watching it. I'm like, I think because obviously Joey Blogs has some sort of connection to Nishka for Nishka to use him as a cover, right? So presumably,
I think this was Mal on the fly. I think because he said that they were working for the uncle. I think this was someone that Mal had known in Paradiso. And was kind of using, like, it was just like a name that he had heard once or twice and was using that as the extrapolation. I don't think it was related to Nishka, but it could have been.
Yeah, could have been. I don't know. It says something about me. I do
Mal's
prefer.
Response to that.
Yeah, is his job available? Which honestly, hey, what if it was like a really good paying job? Do you think he would have taken it? Like if it was just like, he's like, "Oh, hey guys."
He needs to be in the sky, man.
That's true.
He can't be confined to one town.
You can't take the sky from me.
Can't take the sky from me.
Yeah.
Isabel was listening to the theme song and she was like, "This is so corny," and I'm like, "No, this is so cool. You need to
shut up. You just don't understand the freedom."
So Mal tries to work things out with Crow. He's like, "Look, here's the money that Nishka gave us in advance. We're gonna give it back. Like basically, please don't kill us."
Yeah.
We know that we've probably burnt this business relationship, but like, let's not make too big of a deal out of it. We're just gonna pretend like you never met us, and we're just gonna, there'll be another shipment on a train. Just pull this job later, not with us. And Crow is like, has a very elaborate threat, and Mal's like, "Darn, all right," and like, Sparta kicks him into the engine turbine.
Yeah.
And then they pull the next guy, and Mal starts the same speech, and the guy's like, "Oh, yeah, I agree completely. I think that's the best thing for everybody."
Yeah. It's like, that guy sucked, honestly. Nobody liked it. Even Dishka thinks Crow's theatrics are funny, which I appreciate. Like in the early thing, he's like, "Oh, yeah, he likes to stand by door and go boo."
So we end the episode with our 2x2 hands in blue.
Yeah. So earlier when they report the the theft of the medicine, we get a little bit of like the Alliance ship dispatch going like, well, whatever. It's just drugs. I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. So now we follow that scene up with these two suits, or spooks, or whatever you want to call them. They're
I called them spooks.
Yeah, some CIA looking dudes, and they're like, he's like, "Oh, you're here about that medicine," and it's like, "Why would we?" He's like, "We didn't travel like 68 million miles or whatever to talk about drugs. We're here about," and he slides over this picture of River, and he's got the blue, like neural gloves on. It's like, oh, the 2x2 hands of blue, and that's her like. They're after him, which is interesting. It's like, do they? I think they just kind of guess, right? Because I don't. Was there ever any identification of like the ship class, or anything like that?
No, I mean, I don't think they. I think they're just. We've talked about how the Alliance is going to come back to get this girl. I don't think that they are. I don't think they know, unless maybe Nishka informed on them. That's the.
That's
the
possible.
Other possibility.
Yeah. What? Nishka, you son of a bitch. I do also prefer that Summer Glau plays the character named River, and that's very much the same genre of name, so I keep having to take a second to be like, wait a minute.
I am in the exact same boat. Are we rating these?
We didn't rate the first one.
I like this episode as well. I liked that it was normal episode length and not movie length.
Yeah, it wasn't an hour and a half, and they didn't cram like. This was a lot more indicative of like what a normal episode would be as far as like pacing. It's not like, all right, we gotta go right from backstory to backstory to backstory to backstory, and oh yeah, there's Reavers, and then there's in the Alliance, and Also, look at this colony where there's like a seedy deal going down. It's like okay, well, I mean, all that's with the exception of the Reavers. I think all that stuff is still in the episode, but it feels a lot more natural.
Yeah, I agree with that. And not quite as many backstories.
Yeah. So, I think that brings us to our double action Rex. You said you had some lined up, Star Wars related.
So I just finished reading Tales of the Bounty Hunters, and I really liked it. I specifically want to give a shout out to IG-88's story, which opens the book, and Dengar's story as well, which are two really, really good short stories in that collection. I'm also a fan of the Zuckuss and Forlom story. Not so big on the Greedo story, but the Bosk story is okay. And then I said I finished it, but I'm still working through the Boba Fett story. The Boba Fett one is obviously the one that clashes with the new canon the most. So it is very interesting to kind of read that and be like, Boba Fett's not even this guy's name. He's like a whole different guy with like other lore.
Interesting. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I read the. Did you ever read the like kid Boba Fett books that came out like when the prequels were coming out?
I did not.
Yeah, it was a whole series. I was like super into them. Like a big part of it was like, I think Jabba has his father's armor at some point, or he's like, "Hey, you'll grow into this, so I'll hold on to it," or something like that until you're ready. And he's like doing like odd jobs that like a 12-year-old could do.
Right. That's fun.
Yeah. And then it's what's her name? The real pale lady bounty hunter with the shaved head, except for the top. Yeah. She's on the cover of one of them. I think that's where she was introduced, maybe. Although I think she's an extra in episode 2, maybe.
Phantom Menace. She's in the pod race scene.
Yeah. I don't really have any relevant story. Oh, there is a bit where his like in one of the early books or first book probably his Django's like, "Hey, I gotta go on a job, feed the whatever equivalent of a snake is with these like cute little rodents." And Boba's like, "Oh," or they're not rodents, they're like fish. It's like a fish thing, right? And Boba's like, "Oh, these things are so cute. I don't want to feed it to the thing." So he like feeds the pet his dinner instead, and then releases the bait into the water. And then just witnesses a thing just come out and eat it immediately.
Right.
It's just like, sweet. It's like, yeah, it is the ocean, But anywho, my Double Action Wreck is not those Boba Fett books that I don't remember that well. Except for that one very specific scene, I guess. Is Scrooged. I don't know. I've probably read this before. We've been doing this long enough to get through Christmas a couple times. It is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol. For anyone who doesn't know, Scrooged is a 1980s modern resetting of A Christmas Carol. This time starring Bill Murray as a TV studio president who's putting on a live show of the Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve, and then he experiences the three ghosts and everything. And I like two things about it. A, there's this big monologue at the end where he's just talking to the camera, basically. It gets me every time. And then there's another one. The other thing I like is that he does not get it until the very end of the movie. Every time, and this is a thing in the Christmas Carol, but he really doesn't get it. He keeps thinking he learned his lesson, but then it's he's still a piece of shit, just in a slightly different way. But then right at the end, he finally understands it, which I really appreciate. Yeah.
I'm looking at this now. You can watch it on MGM Plus, everyone's favorite streaming service.
Nice. A streaming service with exactly one movie on it, I imagine. I've never heard of MGM Plus before in my life.
Let's look this up. What is on MGM Plus?
I think the Rocky movies were MGM, maybe? I can't remember.
Mission Impossible, Gladiator 2, Sonic 3. Okay, so a bunch of random stuff.
So this is an airplane movie app. That's what this is.
Magnificent Seven, some Medea movies.
Classic.
Looks like it's a lot of Tom Cruise. Yeah. You got Tom Cruise, Jack Reacher.
No.
Never heard of it. They're really struggling on this one.
Y'all live like this?
They got Stargate. They got Stargate on here.
Oh, yo, the movie?
RoboCop, but only the reboot. Only the 2014 RoboCop.
Yeah.
This is pretty rough.
There.
Oh, never mind. And they got RoboCop 3. They got RoboCop 3.
Okay.
Universal Soldier?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the ones I'm reading out.
Hell yeah. Oh, we could do the Mortal Kombat TV show too, I think.
Oh, we should. Which one? Because there's 3.
The one that was actually on TV that sucked. Because they did the YouTube series too. Or a couple YouTube series.
Yeah. Because there's
Mortal Kombat
1 season and one show with 2 seasons.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Legacy was a YouTube thing. Okay. This one came out in the 90s. This one I'm talking about.
It's going to be so weird to have the Warner Bros. Stuff on Netflix. That's going to be very odd.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I've heard conflicting things as to whether or not that deal's actually closed.
Okay. I hope not.
People are talking about Netflix is doing the thing that The Rock did when he was involved with DC, where they would just say stuff it's definitely happening to try to leverage the deal to go through.
Right.
Where it's the next movie's going to be Black Adam and Superman fighting Darkseid in a Hooters or something. And then Warner Brothers had to be it's not that. We'll write that down for later, but it's not that.
We will do that eventually.
Yeah. No.